Hey everyone, this is Jesse Damastis, the Forest Meadows HOA president. We wanted to provide a quick recap of this past Wednesday's HOA meeting for those that weren't able to attend in person or not able to watch via the Zoom link. We're going to go through the slides that were presented. That way everyone can see what information was covered and everyone can be aware of the current situation of our subdivision. This past year's HOA board members are listed here below. All are from Phase 5, since Phase 5 is currently the only phase encumbered by the HOA. And for those Phase 5 homeowners, you're probably aware that Keith Collins is our management company. One of the services they provide is access to a smartphone app that you can download and interact with to get more information about the HOA. Once you're in the app, you can see outstanding dues balances and make payments on those dues. You can submit architectural requests. You can also see pertinent HOA documents as well. So pretty handy tool for getting information you need and reaching out to the HOA company as needed. And for those that aren't aware, I'll provide a quick recap on the history of our HOA issue in regards to only one phase being bound by the covenants of the HOA and the other phases not being bound by those covenants. This issue originated back when this subdivision was being developed by Dan Brown. After he sold all the property for phases 1 through 4 off to the builders, he then went to go and file covenants with the county after the fact. Problem is, you can't go and try and encumber property that you no longer own. You have to do that during the time that you own it. So the fact that he sold it first and then tried to encumber that property with covenants, that's why those phases don't currently have any covenants that they are bound by. Phase 5 is the only phase where it was done in the correct order. And so phase 5 is currently the only phase that is bound by the covenants. We presented these next 5 slides just to get an idea of who was at the meeting and from which phase. So this will also just kind of give you an idea of how the subdivision is broken up into 5 separate phases. So we didn't have anyone from phase 1 in attendance at the meeting. We had folks from phase 2 there. As you can see, the outline of that phase on this map. We had a few folks from phase 3 and some from phase 4. And we had several from phase 5, again, probably mainly due to the fact that this is currently the only phase that's truly in the HOA. You can see where the current board members live, represented by the stars on this map. So in Forest Meadows, our subdivision has 184 homes. You can see the breakdown phase by phase of the number of homes in each phase. Of all the phases, as we've stated, only phase 5 is in the HOA currently, and so phase 5 is the only homeowners that are paying dues into the HOA. So that's 39 homes, which equates to approximately 21% of the subdivision paying dues. And here's a quick snapshot of our annual budget. This will kind of help paint a picture of the financial situation we find ourselves in and why it's so important to try and get folks back into the HOA where we can and increase those funds so that ultimately over the next few years we don't end up running out of money and going bankrupt. So as you can see, our annual income is $7,800. That is solely gathered from dues. So dues are $200 annually, and you've got 39 households paying those dues, which comes out to that $7,800 number. Our annual expenses are a little over $11,000. You can see there in the breakdown in the budget on the right-hand side of the screen where those expenses go. Our 2 biggest expenses are the common area maintenance and paying Keith Collins Management Company expenses. So with our income and expenses netted out, we are currently running at over a $3,000 annual deficit. Currently, as of the end of June, our HOA checking account has a little over $12,000. So you can kind of do the math there and realize that after all expenses are paid, each year we're losing over $3,000 with $12,000 left in the checking account. You know, potentially in 3 to 4 years, we are out of money and bankrupt. So this slide shows kind of a visual representation of that current state, so represented by the red bar. Over the next 3 to 4 years, you can see losing that approximately $3,000 each year. Give or take somewhere in year 4, we'll be down to no money left in the account and no money left to pay the bills. What we're trying to do and what we went over in the meeting is, of course, bring more homeowners into the HOA so that we can increase those funds and keep from going bankrupt. And so this just shows if we could add 50 homes or 100 homes even, what that would look like to those numbers and the positive impact in the other direction that would make. So what the chart at the bottom represents is the leftover money in the account after all expenses are paid. So for example, in year 1, if we added 50 homes, after paying all expenses, we'd have approximately $18,000 in the account. And each year after that, you can see that that account grows. And the question was raised by a homeowner, why do we want money in the account? Why are we trying to stockpile cash? We certainly aren't trying to do that. This is really just more of a visual representation of the positive direction we could go into if we're able to add more homeowners into the HOA. We'll go into detail in what we'd like to do with those extra funds that we're able to do or accrue. Obviously, the main goal at this point is getting our heads back above water and avoiding bankruptcy. Because what would really happen if we do run out of money? The HOA would no longer be able to pay the taxes on all the common area land. Therefore, all the common area would go to a tax sale. It would be sold to the highest bidder, and at that point, the owner of that land could do anything within reason that they want to do with that land, of course, being approved by the city's planning commission. So there's really a lot of unknowns there. We don't know who would get the land, what they'd do with it, how they would maintain it. So that's really the big crux of the issue here and what we're trying to avoid, because, with it being such an uncertainty, we have no idea what that would do to our home values. If that land was all sold, it would really just be dependent on what the new owner of that land decides to do with it. So over the last few weeks, as we're trying to get a handle on the situation and really get folks in the subdivision engaged and get input from all phases of the subdivision, you're probably aware we sent out a survey. If you're on the Facebook page, you saw it there. If not, you should have received a flyer at your front door. So it was just a handful of questions. One of them was asking if you're currently in phase 5. You can see represented by this chart, we actually had more folks outside of phase 5 respond to the survey than in phase 5. So it was great to see representation from phases 1 through 4 so that we could get that input from those phases and really show that we're trying to listen and get their needs heard. The other chart here shows responses to a question where we asked about a block party and the interest there. Again, we're trying to build community. We're trying to bring everyone together and meet folks and come together for the common good of this subdivision to keep it nice for years to come and really just avoid any unknown issues if our common areas do get sold off. So it's nice to see that we have interest in folks wanting to get together and meet neighbors and try to resolve the issue that we're in here. Another piece of that survey was asking which common area or what common area improvements you would like to see most. So you can see the number one thing that most folks said was extending walking trails throughout the common area. We've got a slide coming up that'll kind of show what that could look like. Another big topic was the covered picnic area. So, I think we all agree it would be nice to have a space like that where we could throw little parties. You could reserve it for a birthday party or some kind of event for your family. Folks would also like to see benches around, pet cleanup stations, restocking the pond. And again, really, these are just not unfeasible things. These are things that we can certainly do, but it would take the buy-in and folks getting in so that we can increase those funds. And so this is, really pointing back to that slide where we were talking about having extra money in the checking account. So if we're able to get more homes in, not only are we able to pay our normal bills, and we could actually maintain our common areas even more than we're able to now. We could then use that extra money to provide some of these quality of life improvements in the subdivision that I think we could all benefit from, and in turn would really help increase the value of our homes by having these nice types of things in the community. So here's a quick map of the subdivision and its common areas represented in green. So you kind of see the various yellow arrows throughout. So this is just kind of an idea of where the walking trails could extend and how it can help connect the subdivision across all phases. By no means is this an official plan on what we want to do, but really just a representation of what options there are out there for walking trails and other improvements throughout the common area. So in regards to being in an HOA, we just went through some things the HOA could do in the common areas to provide some nice amenities to all of our homeowners. There are some folks, and we completely understand, that just maybe aren't into those types of things, probably wouldn't use them that much, and again, completely okay and completely understandable. But another way outside of those amenities that you could see that an HOA can benefit you as a homeowner, we were able to pull data from the MLS over the last 12 months regarding home sales in DeSoto County and then also within Hernando, and specifically looking at HOA statistics of those home sales. So for all of DeSoto County, for homes that were in an HOA, those homes have an average appraised price per square foot of $157. For homes that were not in an HOA in DeSoto County over the last 12 months, their average appraised price per square foot was $148. So you can see that's a difference of a little over $8 a foot. And for a 2,500 square foot home, that equates to around a $21,000 difference. And that's even bigger when you get to Hernando, where the appraised price per square foot on average is $9 more per square foot for homes that are in an HOA versus homes that are not in an HOA, which again would equate to approximately an additional $23,000 in property value for a home that's 2,500 square foot. And lastly, just at the bottom there, you can see the average annual HOA dues amount. Forest Meadows, currently the HOA dues are $200 a year. In DeSoto County, the average HOA due is $303, and in Hernando, the average HOA dues are $362. So we're certainly on the low end, and depending on the number of homes we're able to get contributing to HOA dues, we could even decrease that $200 number if we're able to get a big enough buy-in. Now, after hearing all this information and hopefully getting some questions answered you may have had, if you are interested in joining the HOA, we've got a couple of ways you can go about doing that. Firstly, at the meeting, we had a handful of folks come and sign a signature page on the covenants. That's still available. We can come to your home and meet with you and have you guys sign that. So For those that do sign that signature page by the end of this month, we're given an early bird discount of $100. So your dues would be $100 for the remainder of this year. And then subsequent years, it would be at the $200 rate. Our plan after that is to go ahead and file those covenants for all the homeowners that have signed on. Again, to clarify, this is a voluntary basis. It's a one-by-one homeowner type of deal. If one homeowner in your phase signs these covenants, it by no means binds any of the other homes in that phase. Only the homeowners that sign up are bound. It's not an all or none deal. Again, just solely the individual homeowners that sign will be bound by the covenants. Those that don't will not. After the 31st and after we file the covenants and all of those signature pages received, the only other way you can join at that point will be to sign what's called a joinder document. Again, a very simple form. It has to be notarized, but it just, again, encumbers your property for the foreseeable future to be bound by the covenants in this subdivision. Some folks have asked, so if I sell my home, the next person that buys it, are they not just included in the HOA or in the covenants? And the answer to that is no. The only way to encumber your property would be one of these two ways here. We'd love to get as many of you joining the HOA as possible. Again, really, primarily at this point, from a financial standpoint, we do understand that covenants are important, but there's also some pushback on covenants, and again, we understand that. But the biggest ask right now is for financial help for the HOA, and so we really want the buy-in from those that are able to join and willing to join, so that we can get this thing back on track and avoid the uncertainty of running out of money with the HOA and going bankrupt and all of our common area being sold at a tax sale. So we hope that we can all pull together and join in this effort together. Please feel free to reach out with whatever questions you have. You can reach out to me individually via the Facebook page, or you can shoot me a message on my phone. Number's 901-491-9134. I'd be happy to talk to you about what other questions you may have. One quick item here, one last thing to go through. We did have re-election of board members at the meeting. So you can see here, moving forward, the 2023-2024 HOA board members are as follows. We have two new board members, so Kelvin Lake and Lori Allen joined, and we're very appreciative of their support and wanting to join the HOA and, again, keep this work moving forward that we've started. So appreciate everyone taking time to listen to this presentation. Thank you for your interest in your subdivision, and we really do look forward in meeting with you and discussing how we can work together as a community to make things better for the foreseeable future for us. Thanks a lot.